morning, everyone. Story told about this couple that had a baby. And so the husband says to the wife, listen, why should we both get up every night when the baby cries in the middle of the night to feed the baby with the bottle and to diaper the baby? We'll take turns. First week you'll wake up, second week I'll wake up, we'll rotate. She says, good idea. First week, every night, in the middle of the night, the baby cries, she gets up, he gives the baby the bottle, diapers the baby. Comes the second week, 2 a.m., the baby starts crying. She turns over to see if he's getting up. He's not budging, he's fast asleep. The baby's hollering louder, louder. Finally, she calls him, she says, Yanko, it's your week, why don't you get up and take care of the baby? And half asleep, he turns and says, listen, honey, I didn't interfere in your week, you don't interfere in my week. This week's Parsha, we have a story about a crying baby. We have the story of Moshe Rabbeinu and his own sister Miriam and his brother Aaron, and how they speak Lashon Hara. They speak gossip about Moshe, about his marriage with his wife, whatever it was that he separated from his wife. And God reprimands Miriam and Aaron for speaking gossip about their own brother, and punishes Miriam. And the punishment is that she has to be quarantined. She's stricken with leprosy, and she has to be quarantined for 7 days outside the camp. However, the Torah says that the entire nation afforded her a great honor, and they waited for her 7 days till she was healed and was able to re-enter the community and travel on with the Jews in the desert. And our rabbis say, why did she merit that millions of people in the desert should wait for her and show her this honor? Because 80 years earlier, when Moshe Rabbeinu was an infant and he was in the baby basket, in the wicker basket in the Nile River, it says she, the older sister Miriam, stood from a distance to watch over her baby brother. And when the baby started crying, when Batya, the daughter of Pharaoh, rescued him, she stepped forward and said, let me find you a Jewish nursemaid to nurse the baby, and was able to bring the baby Moses back to his mother Yocheved to nurse. And this led to the salvation of Moshe, which led to the redemption of the Jewish people from Egypt. And because 81 years earlier she paid attention and cared about the cry of a little baby, that baby turned out to be the redeemer of all of Israel. And now the whole nation thanked her publicly by waiting for her for a whole week. And you see here the power of a baby's cry. That when a child is crying, you never know what it means to respond to that child's cry and what can happen as a result. And this is really also a metaphor. When we say a child crying, it doesn't have to be a baby. It could be any child who's in distress, of any age. Anyone who cries out in pain. And when we turn to that pain and we care about that pain, God never forgets that kindness and repays you like he repaid Miriam 81 years later. And you never know how being attentive to someone's needs and someone's cry, especially an innocent young child, could alter the entire course of history. I'll tell you a true story that happened in Israel a number of years ago. In Hebron, there was a soldier on duty, and he was shot by some Arab terrorists. And the terrorists fled the scene, and another soldier on a different patrol heard the shot and came running, and he found this soldier, his name was Yoni. He was on the ground bleeding. And so he helped call for backup. They rescued him and took him to the nearest hospital to get treated. This was on a Friday. And the soldier, after bringing him to the hospital, left the scene. When the soldier recuperated from his wounds, he wanted to know, and the family wanted to know, who was the soldier who came and found him and brought him to the hospital? But nobody knew. He brought him to the hospital and then he left. Once he delivered him to the medics. So the parents of the soldier, Yoni, they wanted to discover who it was. They had a little grocery store in Israel. They said, Israel's a small country. They put up a sign in the window with the story, and they said, if anyone knows, by any chance, who this was, who helped our son, who rescued our son's life, we want to thank them. Months went by, no response. One day a woman comes into the grocery store and goes over to the woman and says, I saw the sign in the window. I usually don't shop here, but I was in the neighborhood, so I came into your store. I saw the sign in the window. I want you to know, based on the date that it happened, I remember my son came home for Shabbat dinner that night. He came off the base, and he told me that day a soldier was shot, and he was able to come and rescue him and bring him to the hospital. And they collaborated the details, and it turns out it was her son, Yair, who saved her son, Yoni. The two women embraced, and she thanked her and kissed her and said, I can't thank you enough, and please, I want to meet your son and thank him personally. At that point, the mother of the boy who rescued the other boy who came into the shop, says to her, do you remember me? She says, no. Isn't this the first time we're meeting? He says, no, we know each other for many years ago. I used to live in this neighborhood. I used to shop here 20-something years ago. He says, no, I don't remember you. He says, let me tell you something. I used to shop in your store. I used to live in this neighborhood. And one day I came in and I looked downcast. I looked distressed. And you knew me, so you said, is everything okay? And I told you that we're expecting another child. And we're our financial situation is very difficult, and we don't know what to do. Should we abort the child? Should we not abort the child? And you said to me, don't abort the child. It's a precious life. Don't worry, God will help. And a matter of fact, if things are difficult, you could always come to the grocery store. We'll help you with whatever you need, food, whatever, no charge. Just don't abort the child. And your love and your support and your encouragement is what encouraged me to go ahead and have that child. And you were there for me, and you supported me, and you gave me free food, and you helped me through the difficult period. And I want you to know something, she says to this woman. That baby that I had 22 years ago is this boy Yair who saved your son Yoni. And when you hear the cry of another person and you help them, you never know how that's going to save another life, and sometime it may come back to save your very own life. So this week's Parsha tells us, never underestimate what it means to listen to someone's cry. And sometimes when adults are crying, it's the child in them that's crying. Always be attentive to the cry of another human being.